My name is Charlotte. I am a survivor of domestic abuse. Today I am breaking my silence.
Charlotte, let's start from the beginning. What did the abuse look like?
So from the beginning, we were best friends to start off with, and it was already quite a toxic friendship. Looking back now, I felt like I was in love with him, so I just kept going back for more. It was never really physical. There's a couple of really minor physical incidents, but it was all emotional, mental, financial abuse. If I spent money, I was the problem. We were in debt because it was my fault for spending too much on the food shopping. He didn't take into account his drug addiction. I remember a time we had £20 left for a few days. And I said, oh, let's go to the zoo with our little boy for the day. No, we can't. I've got to buy my drugs. So we just sat in the house all weekend, nothing to do, with a toddler trying to entertain him. If the baby was bored, he'd be abusive. He'd shout at our son. He'd shout at me. Yeah, it was tough.
You mentioned that there wasn't a lot of physical abuse and it was more emotional and mental. What did that look like for you?
I feel like I'd rather be punched in the face. I think I might have got over that quicker. Like, so there was some physical. That doesn't play in the forefront of my mind. What still affects me now is the abuse, the name calling, the degrading. That still sticks with me now.
What kind of cycles would that work in when he was emotionally abusive?
Looking back, I didn't recognise it at the time. It's only been very recently, over the last couple of years, that I've realised actually what I was putting up with. And it would be anything minor, from if I wasn't there to pick him up from work. We lived on the same road as his workplace, but if I was out and couldn't pick him up, it would be the silent treatment when I got home. It would be snapping at any little thing. I was constantly just walking on eggshells. It was really tiring. So I just done whatever he wanted me to do just to keep him happy, so that we'd be happy.
What was it like when he just gave you the silent treatment? How did you feel?
Just leaves you on tenterhooks all the time. There's just an atmosphere, and I'm trying to keep our child happy, because I think if he's upset or angry, it's just going to make my abuser even more angry. So then living in a cooped up flat, me feeling on edge, my child can sense that, so he's on edge, and then he's making the abuser worse. It was just really, I can't really explain it. It was just not a very nice feeling at all.
When you look back now, can you see that it was abusive what he was doing?
Yeah.
How about at the time?
No. At the time, I just thought that was what love was. It was just how he was quite an aggressive person. That's just his personality. It wasn't him being horrible or trying to make me feel bad. I thought that was just how it was supposed to be.
What was his personality like?
To everyone, so we were mutual friends at work. So we had a lot of mutual friends. To everyone, even now, he was a really happy-go-lucky guy, always smiling, always happy. But at home, he was taking drugs. So if he didn't have that fix, he was aggressive. When he did have it, he wasn't a nice person to be around either. It's really hard to look back now at how he was. He just overall just ruined my life. And he was always blaming it on his background, his upbringing. But we both had the same sort of upbringing, and I wasn't like that.
Upbringing like for you?
For me, my mum suffers from mental health. My dad's an alcoholic. My dad was never physically abusive or horrible to us. He just wasn't there for us emotionally and physically. He was just too busy with his fix. My mum was always there physically, but emotionally never was. So we had a nice house, we had nice holidays, but we were neglected emotionally. She was never actually around. If we were at home, she'd be out getting drunk, taking drugs. She had her own troubles that she was trying to fix. There was some physical abuse for mum as well. And my mum had a bad upbringing, and that was always her excuse. But I'm breaking the mould. I don't want that for my child.
So you recognise the cycle from your childhood and in an intimate partner violence relationship.
All I knew was what my mum showed me was she was in physical abusive relationships. She was abusive to us. So when I got into a relationship that was similar, I just thought that was normal because that's what I've always witnessed growing up.
You feel like
That's life, yeah, that's life, that's love, and you just sort of, you get on with it.
At what point did you decide to break that cycle?
It's really weird. The cycle with my family or with just everything. So the relationship with the abuser, I didn't leave because of the abuse. I left because he cheated on me, which looking back, obviously that is abuse, but it wasn't because of all the abuse that I was subjected to, it was because he cheated on me. And I think if that didn't happen, I could still be with him.
So there was an essence of some way, somehow, as women we've been taught that the cheating is worse
than being abused every day of your life. Yeah, it wasn't until about a year after I left him that actually I looked back. I found your page, looked back, and it all made sense.
What was it like to be you when you realised the magnitude of what you had experienced?
I feel so free. Like, I don't owe anything to anybody. I've got nobody to answer to. I'll do what I want when I want. It's so amazing just to be able to go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and not be worried about what's going to happen next, what's anyone going to say, what they're going to do.
Has it been a bit of a journey to get into this mentality that you have?
Definitely. I think when I left my abuser, the abuse did get worse. Originally, there was more physical abuse once I left than there was in the actual relationship. There was constant messages, phone calls, threats to turn up at my house, threats to kill me. He'd turn up at the school, try and get in my car. He'd threaten my family. My sister had cancer, just as me and my abuser broke up, and he would threaten to beat my sister up while she was going through chemotherapy because he knew she was my main source of support, and I was having then to support her, so he knew I didn't have anybody, and that's where he knew he could try and get to me.
What did that do to the relationship you had with your sister?
It made us 100% stronger. If it wasn't for her and my brother-in-law, I generally don't know where I'd be right now because they supported me through so much. And they still do.
Do you want to take a minute?
I'm glad I'm not wearing mascara.
You're doing really well.
Oh, thank you.
Let me know when you're ready, okay? Or if you want to stop.
No, I'm fine. If I stop, I won't start again. Oh, ready.
Other than the support and the amazing support that you've had from your sister and her partner, have you been able to access help anywhere else?
No, I mean there was 2 occasions where I called the police after we split for 2 different reasons. I think one was threatened to come to my house and kill me. It was during COVID lockdown. I had to evacuate my house with my little boy at sort of midnight to go to a friend's house, just in case he did come. I never knew what he was capable of. Called the police and they referred me to an IDFA agency, but it took me a little while to get the courage to call them and speak to them and get support because I didn't want to admit that I was struggling or I was a victim. By the time I called them and said, oh no, it's too late, it has to be within a certain time period that you can get the support and we can't do anything now. So that was it. And that I thought, what's the point? Yeah. Just got through it myself with my family.
I really relate to that because for the longest time after leaving, even though I knew I was a victim, I still couldn't accept it.
Yeah, it makes you, I think, a sense of weakness sometimes, but it's not, we all struggle. But I think it was just, how did I let this happen to me? Because to everyone, all my friends and family, I'm such a strong, outspoken, bubbly girl. How could that happen to you?
You think like, not me.
No, I'm the one that protects my friends. If we're on a night out, for example, I'm the one that will stand up if there's any trouble. How am I this weak person that was abused by somebody? That's not who I was.
Things like this don't happen to people like me.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned that after you found LPTMS page, it really helped you recognise what you had been through. What are you like now? now that you said you're stronger and your life is different, but actually within yourself?
Yeah. I do whatever I want now, whenever I want. I still struggle at times, obviously, with anxiety and intrusive thoughts and flashbacks and nightmares. They've decreased massively over the last couple of years. I'm still single, and people say, oh, you were just really fussy. It's not, it's because I know what I want, and if I'm not getting that, then you're gone. Like, I've got boundaries, and if you're not going to meet them, then I'll be single forever if I need to be. I don't need someone to make me happy, which I thought I always did need to be with somebody to be happy. I now know that I don't. If you're coming into my life, it's to improve my life, not to make it.
And if you had to access therapy for anxiety, would you know where to go? Would you know where to look for?
I work in mental health, so I would know where to go, but I know the waiting list is just so long. I just think, what's the point? I could pay for it privately, but I'm a single parent, and it is expensive.
So the financial aspect of accessing private therapy is...
But it's definitely something that I know that I do need and do want to do, but it's just having the ability to be able to afford it.
If you could access it, would you?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.